Welcome back to another episode of Hot Air with me, Joshua Robert. And today we are talking all about habits. If you listened to the last episode of Hot Air with my friend Stefania, we got a little bit into some of my negative habits, and she offered a few ways. Well, basically told me that they were terrible habits, and she was not wrong. Like how I love to eat in bed. And I did not realize that that is just a habit that I have created for myself. And it's not a healthy one because every time I get into bed, I'm like, I could use a snack. And which means I wake up in the middle of the night and go eat food because bed means food. Weird. Never even thought about it that way. But Stefania made my brain start working overtime. My wheels started turning. Her and I are going to do another episode together on habits and specifically on one book about them. But I wanted to get into just a few little tidbits that I have been learning over the last few weeks about habits. So, we're going to talk about why our brain betrays us at midnight with the need for a fucking bag of chips. So, on today's episode, we're talking habits, how we form them, why we repeat them, even when they fucking suck, and what it really takes to change them. And we're going deep. We're going to get into psychology, neuroscience, which I know nothing about, but I'm trying to learn because when I learn, everything makes more sense. Isn't that what happens when we start to learn? Also, a little bit of tough love, all wrapped up into a cozy little audio blanket. And we call that audio blanket Hot Air. And we're getting into habits. So let's do it. Let's start with how habits actually form. Actually, let's start with me putting on my deeper, calmer therapy voice because I really need to namaste the fuck out of myself today. I'm going to try not to curse on this episode. I'm going to keep it calm, cool, and collected. So, I'm going to go for 5 swear words. I've already used one, so I've got 4 more. Now, let's actually begin. Let's start with how habits actually form, and not just in a metaphorical, I've been doing this forever kind of way, but biologically, neurologically, deep in that soft, squishy thing between your ears. And that soft, squishy thing is your brain, and in case you didn't catch my drift. So here's the deal. A habit is a behavior pattern that becomes automatic through repetition. The brain creates habits to be efficient. Think of it as a mental automation. It lets you do things without even having to consciously think them through every time. Like brushing your teeth, which is crazy because I never thought about this. Brushing your teeth is a habit. Tying your shoes is a habit. Also, checking your phone when you're bored as hell. That is a habit. I don't think hell counts as a curse word, so I still have 4 more left. These are all habits that our brain has stored to conserve energy, which is really fucking, oh shit, another swear word, which is really cool when you think about it. Your brain creates these habits, and the positive ones, of course, are positive. Habits conserve energy so you don't have to think things through too deeply. You don't have to overanalyze things. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. Brushing your teeth is a great habit to have. Unfortunately, not everyone has it, but you don't have to think about it if it is a habit that you've created. It just happens naturally. Now, I really enjoy learning about where things take place in certain parts of our brain. I think your amygdala, something like that. I'll Google it later. You can Google it yourself. Amygdala has something to do with like your stress and anxiety response. And so once I learned that, I started being like, okay, I'm getting stressed right now. It's my amygdala. And just being able to physically be like, it's this little kidney bean thing in the middle of your brain for some reason that resonated with me. And your habits, they happen mostly in a part of your brain called the basal ganglia. I think I said that right. Let's inquire with Google. Did I? Let's listen.
Basal ganglia.
Basal ganglia. Super duper love it. Habits form in your basal ganglia. It's a group of nuclei, a cluster of neurons located deep in your brain. We love it deep. It's involved in movement regulation, decision making, and routine behavior, otherwise known as habits. It's like the brain's kind of autopilot center. So once a behavior is repeated enough times, the basal ganglia helps make the behavior automatic. No thinking required. Again, bringing it back to brushing your teeth. No thinking required. It's a habit. It lives in your basal ganglia. That shit's crazy to me. Damn. Swear word. Number. I've got 3 left. This is going to be a toughie. So the basal ganglia clearly has no judgment here. It does not distinguish between a productive habit like journaling or, again, brushing your teeth and a destructive one like binge watching TV at 2 a.m. or waking up out of bed and going to eat some chips or jelly beans in the kitchen at 3 a.m. like I do. All it does is repeat what is familiar. That basal ganglia. I wish it could distinguish between good and bad habits. So here is the habit loop. According to behavioral scientists, habits form through a loop. We've got a cue, also known as a trigger, and sometimes that prompts behavior. So, boredom, stress, the time of day, your environment. Your cue, it is your trigger. Then we have the routine, and that routine is your behavior. The habit itself is your routine. So, that could be, again, snacking, brushing your teeth, scrolling through social media, biting your fingernails. The list goes on and on and on. Part 3 of this loop is the reward. So that reward can be relief, it can be pleasure. It's that dopamine hit that your brain receives, which reinforces the behavior. And that is the loop. You've got the cue, you've got the routine, and you've got the reward. Or you've got the trigger, you've got the behavior, and you've got the relief. Over time, your brain begins to anticipate the reward and starts craving the routine as soon as the cue appears. So, for example, let's just take my jelly bean eating habit. I love Easter time jelly beans. They're so good. Those like light pastel colored jelly beans. So delish for me. Most people hate them. I love them. So my trigger could is I'm a very emotional eater. So if I'm stressed out, I want a snack. If I can't sleep, I'm like, oh well, might want a snack. So that's my trigger. My routine is then if I'm craving something and I wake up in the middle of the night and I've had a stressful day, I want to go eat. I want to go have a snack. So I wake up out of bed at 2, 3 in the morning and I go into the kitchen and I have some jelly beans. And the reward is how friggin' good they taste. And of course, that reward feels good. So my body and my brain are going to start making me repeat this over and over and over until it becomes a habit. This also happens with those new golden sriracha Doritos. They are yummy. I woke up in the middle of the night last night and went and ate them. And I hope by the end of this episode, I will learn how to stop those habits or start combating them. So over time, your brain begins to anticipate the reward, right? It starts craving the routine as soon as that cue appears. I start craving those jelly beans as soon as I've had a stressful day. Let's walk this through a little bit. So say this is, for you. Say you're stressed out. That's the cue. You reach for a bag of chips. That's the routine. Your brain gets dopamine. That's the reward. Very simple, basically what I just said. So if you do that 20 times and now you get stress, that's going to equal eat junk. No thinking is allowed, just autopilot. It's that, I can't even say the word anymore, that basal ganglia. That's it. You do it 20 times, your brain is like, sweet, we got a habit forming here. Now, I've always wondered about changing habits and forming habits. So, how long exactly does it take to form a habit? And it's not as long as I thought. So, there is the myth of the 21 days that it takes to form a habit. Studies suggest that habits on average take about 66 days to become automatic. But that number can, of course, vary widely depending on how complex the behavior is and, of course, the individual. I always thought it was 90 days to form a habit. 66 days is about the average. So habits aren't about willpower, they're about patterns. And patterns, unfortunately, good and bad, live in your brain like a friggin' squatter who doesn't pay rent. What fun that is. Let's touch on rewiring the brain. Let's talk about the science of change, something that I absolutely love and I started applying a little over a year ago, and I'm so glad that I did. So, here is the good news. Let's start with the good news. Your brain can change. Some of us don't understand your brain can change. You can alter anything that well, that's not true. Sometimes we need meds. But speaking of habits, you can alter any of your habits if you put your mind to it. And that is thanks to something called neuroplasticity. So, what is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. How cool! It's wild that we can just completely form new connections, which means we can form new habits and get rid of the old ones. In plain terms, putting this very simply, it means that your brain is flexible. Okay. Your brain is flexible. It can adapt, it can rewire, and literally reshape itself based on what it is that you do. This is the foundation of all habit change. You are not doomed to be bad with time and always late, or someone who maybe the opposite of that always shows up too early, or someone who is not a morning person. Those are learned patterns. And I think taking a pause for a second and thinking about how we maybe live our daily life, how we function, looking at the things that we repeat every single day, those are habits. We don't often step out of ourselves and be like, that's a habit. The way I make my coffee every morning is a habit. I don't have to think about it. It just is. The way that I do my skincare routine is a habit. The way that I make notes in my notebook based on a meeting I'm having, that is a habit. There could be better ways, and also there could be worse ways. There could be better ways to do all of these habits. So, learning to rewire your brain is pretty fundamental to living your best possible life. You don't always have to be not a morning person or always late. These are patterns, they are not fixed traits. So let's figure out how we are going to rewire a bad habit. So this is the part that takes a little bit of work and we're going to break it down. Number 1, identify the cue. So we're going back to that habit loop. Identify the cue. What is really triggering the behavior? Yeah, you need to play detective here. Ask yourself, sit down, ask yourself, where am I? What time is it? What am I feeling? Who am I with? That who, what, where, when, why situation. And sometimes how. Tracking the why behind your behavior is crucial. You got to figure out why it is that you are doing that habit. The goal is to make the subconscious conscious. So sit yourself down. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Number 2, swap the routine. Remember, you can't just remove a habit. That would be wonderful if you could just snap your fingers and out it goes. You need to replace it with a new behavior that delivers a similar reward. So let's talk through an example. Let's say your cue is stress. Your old routine might be to scroll on Instagram for 45 minutes. We can get so lost. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, just into that doom scrolling. If your new routine, something you're going to replace it with, when you start feeling stressed, I'm going to go walk for 10 minutes, or I'm going to journal 5 things that I'm grateful for today. As soon as you go to pick up that phone when you're feeling stressed, go, no, 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 no. Put that phone down, go walk, go journal, or replace it with something that is, of course, beneficial and positive and something that feels good. If the reward is emotional release, then you're going to need to find a healthier way to get that same feeling. If you feel emotional relief when you're on Instagram for 45 minutes, what can also make you feel that way? If going outside and walking around for 10 minutes makes you feel good, it makes you feel calm, replace your stress routine with walking instead of social media, or put on a podcast that you really like. Put on a song you really like. Something that makes you feel good, that is going to take you out of that stressful moment. You're going to start replacing your old routine with your new routine. Number 3, repeat it a lot. Neuroplasticity relies on repetition. The more often you're going to practice your new behavior, the stronger the neural pathways become. It's like a trail in the woods. The more you walk it, the clearer it's going to get. So it can't just be a one time thing. You can't just get stressed out once and go, I'm going to go for a walk and hope that that is going to replace your doom scrolling. It has to be something that you're going to commit to. It has to be something that you are going to do again and again and again until it becomes your new learned behavior and your new, more positive habit. On top of that, let's pair repetition with emotion. Why? Because emotion helps encode memories and behaviors more deeply. And that's why you remember your high school crush's birthday, but not where you parked your car. Like, I literally forget where I parked my car on my street so often, but I will remember some of the littlest things where there is a deep rooted emotion involved. So if you're excited or proud or feeling accomplished when you complete this new habit, the new habit that you are replacing the old one with, you're going to reinforce it even more. So make sure that the new habit that you are choosing, of course, makes you feel good. It is positive, but when you accomplish it, get excited, tell yourself you did a good job, feel like, you know what, I'm doing something here. I'm replacing that shitty old habit. Oh, I got 2 swear words left. I'm replacing that crappy old habit with something new and something good. You are taking action. Be proud of yourself. Number 4, let's make it easy. Your brain resists effort. Lovely. Your brain doesn't even want to work that hard. Come on. So make the new behavior as simple as possible. This is called behavioral friction. I love a term. The more steps something takes, the less likely you are to do it. And that makes the most sense. We want everything quick, we want everything easy. So if you want to stop using your phone at night, charge it in another room. Very easy. And I've heard people do this and I'm like, how do you leave your phone in another room? I don't even use my phone at nighttime. So why is that so shocking to me? If you want to eat healthier, prep your snacks in advance. It's very straightforward. Want to work out? Sleep in your gym clothes or have them like I do because I sleep butt ass naked. But have your gym clothes folded, put on the chair. I will put out the clothes that I need to wear for an event, for an occasion, so that I am ready. So if you're reducing the amount of effort, you're reducing the friction, and you're going to increase your follow through. So something that I did last year, part of my New Year's resolution, because I love a New Year's resolution. I love starting things fresh. I love making new goals. I love, now that I know that you can rewire your brain, I apparently love rewiring my brain and setting new habits for myself. So over a year ago, my goal was to make my bed every morning when I woke up before I even left my bedroom. Sometimes it's before I leave the house. Whatever. My goal was to make my bed. My one of my other goals was to do a little stretch every morning. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do an up dog, a down dog, a lunge on each side. I'm gonna do like a little sun salutation, whatever, just to get my blood flowing, just to get my body moving. And I said, I'm going to do this for 90 days because at that time, I thought that it took 90 days to form a habit. So I was like, all right, you got 3 months, make your fucking bed. I got one swear word left. Make your bed, Josh. Get up, make it, do your stretch, or vice versa. Do your stretch, make your bed. And I did it. I reminded myself every single morning. I was like, this is so easy. It takes a minute instead of just walking into the kitchen and like making my coffee and ignoring things that are going to make my life better. And truthfully, just by making my bed, it makes everything look nicer. I can crawl into a made bed now when I come into bed at night. My room looks cleaner. I feel a little bit more loosey goosey when I start my day. It's just a wonderful way to wake up. And it's something I wanted to do for a really long time. I also had read that like the most successful people in the world also wake up at like what, 4 a.m. and they all make their bed. So I was like, I'm gonna start making my bed. I'll wake up at 5, but I'm not waking up at 4, honey. Don't even push it. So started waking up at 5 and started making my bed and started stretching. After 90 days, because I thought that was the time period for a habit to form, it became a habit. Over a year later, I am making my bed every single morning. I don't even think about it anymore. I roll out of bed and I plop my butt down on the floor and I do my stretches, don't even think about it. And now understanding what it is like to rewire your brain, that neuroplasticity, where those habits live, it makes so much sense. It's not easy. It takes a little bit of effort. It takes some work. You got to think it through and you got to make a plan. But once that habit is locked in there, it's autopilot. Just like I said, it just happens. Now, let's talk about how a habit becomes identity. Here is where we shift from mechanics to meaning. Most people try to change habits by focusing on the outcome. The outcome could be, I want to lose weight, or I want to stop procrastinating, or I want to meditate every single day. But real change happens when you focus not on the result, but the identity behind it. So, identity based habits. This idea comes from an author. His name is James Clear, who writes about it in Atomic Habits. And that is the book that Stefani and I are going to be deep diving into on a future episode. So, instead of saying, I want to work out, you say, I'm the kind of person who takes care of my body. Instead of, I want to stop smoking, you say, I'm not a smoker anymore. And here is why this works because your brain is constantly trying to act in alignment with your self image. When you change the story that you are telling yourself, your actions begin to follow. So even small habits can reinforce a brand new identity. So, like writing one sentence a day, you're a writer. Reading a page of a book, you're a reader. Meditating for 2 minutes, you are someone who meditates. Your actions are votes for the kind of person that you want to become. And sometimes these habits are huge. Sometimes they are little, small, minute details. We all have some really bad habits that we don't even realize are preventing us from living our best life possible. And sometimes there are these little itty bitty changes like making your bed or doing your little stretch in the morning. But we need to celebrate all of these wins. There is a lot of power in the small wins in particular. Small wins are the ones that are giving you momentum, the little steps that you are taking forward. So, for example, if you want to make your bed every day and you do it one day, you do it 2 days, you do it 3 days, you celebrate every single day that you do it until it becomes a habit. When you celebrate these small wins, it's going to create a sense of capability. It means you can friggin' do it. This feeds your self efficiency. That's your belief in your ability to succeed at something. Each time you complete a new habit, even if it's tiny, you're not just being productive, you're reinforcing it. You are reinforcing, I can do this. I am someone who shows up. I got this. I'm going to restructure my brain and I'm going to create a new positive habit for myself. This matters more than the intensity or being perfect. If you mess up a day or two, get back on that new habit forming train and just stay focused. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. As long as you are trying, you're doing the best that you can. So, you are not your habits, but your habits do shape your life. So, if you want to live differently, feel better, be more consistent, heal something, you don't need a full blown transformation overnight. Again, it would be wonderful if we could snap our fingers and make that happen. It doesn't need to be overnight success, it takes time. What you need is a cue. You need a new routine and you need a little reward. So we're going to replace that old routine with a new routine that is more positive. It's going to make us feel equally as good, if not better. So start small. Do not aim for perfect. Let's aim for consistent. And when you fall off the wagon, that is not failure. This is about aligning with who you already are. Underneath the chaos, the coping, and the crusty old neural loops. So, if this episode sparks something in you, I hope you leave a review, share it with your friends who may have some habits that you hope they will change, or write that first page of that journal you've been ignoring since January. Start reforming those neuro pathways or whatever I referred to them as before. I'm going to start doing some new habits. We're going to revisit this deep dive with Stefania. So, thanks for floating through this episode of Hot Air with me, Joshua Robert. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at underscore hot air pod. And until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and go make a new habit that loves you back. I'll talk to you guys next time. Oh, also, I have one more swear word left, so fuck your bad habits, show 'em who's boss.